This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why need a cameraman when you can just do it yourself? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. All right, guys, it's another panel discussion. We've got a great group of guys here. If you're here at TORG, we did a panel earlier today. We had a great discussion, but we got some. I like to spotlight some different vendors that either I've purchased product from or I've checked out their product, and we've got two here that do different things, but in the CD or the 3D printing realm. We've got CC Games, but you also own a video game store, so I want to put that out there.
Correct.
So we got Kevin here.
Yep. It's in Fremont, Ohio, called CNC Games.
And your booth, you're actually over.
Yeah, I'm over.
You're over
front,
yonder.
like the second row from the entrance. Yeah.
Okay, and then we also have this gentleman who makes really cool controller trees, right?
Something along those lines. Well, I got a great solution for storing controllers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no. We're getting rid of that thing. This is the original, and this was CNC routed. And I don't know how many more of these I'm going to sell, but this was the base unit, and we're switching over to 3D printing for the most part. And I'll put one of those together while you continue talking about other stuff.
So I got to ask, tell everybody your name first.
My name's Derek Foster.
His name is Derek, but he named it Fang. I got to start with there real quick. Why Fang? What was the logic on that?
You know, besides coming up with a DJ name, coming up with a product name is just as difficult. So my first original product was a adapter for connecting a Bluetooth dongle to your Switch before the Switch fix came in.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at this, I was like, oh, it looks like a set of Fangs, and that's it.
There you go.
So,
That's cool.
but so since the Switch has been replaced with a patch, a software patch, people are buying these now for their 3DSs. So they can no cord hanging down and no
that's cool.
adapter.
That's awesome.
So
Cool.
it is still a popular item.
That was a good idea.
So that's where the Fang came from.
That's awesome. I like it.
I like that too. So he's going to be building this tower because it's very simple to build, but you're gonna like what you see. Kevin, you do 3D printing a little different. He's got some statues.
Right.
You just sold the.
I just sold the Samus.
The Samus. So everybody can cry now.
Yeah, it was like a 4-foot Samus statue.
Someone bought it.
We put a lot of work.
Congratulations.
It is going to another game store though, so it'll look great.
I have to say, Brian was eyeing it up. I got the Mega Man, but he was a day short.
Well, it was
$1 short.
The Samus was the same height as me. That's why I was kind of one that, you know.
We're not even going to go. I'm not even touching that one.
Self-deprecating
I'm not touching
humor.
For me, it just started out as I wanted to make cool stuff for my store, and then it turned into coming to conventions and selling.
Is that because it's so hard to find these decorations for your store?
Yeah, and it's like hard. I mean, good luck finding like a World of Nintendo sign, and paying like thousands of dollars where I can sculpt it and print it in 3D.
Now,
it looks awesome. Cool.
Now, them bigger statues, you print them in sections and put them together, correct?
I do. The biggest thing I've done a 6-foot Pikachu, and that was in about 20 pieces. But I just got a printer as I left for TORG that can do about 3.5 feet tall.
Okay, so that'll shorten up some time.
Yeah, so I'll be able to print pretty big statues in one go or pieces.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So
and then you brought some new stuff. Obviously the painted Mario. I picked up the black Mario at the last
right.
CGC. But now you have a princess now that you're doing about the same size.
Yeah, I just didn't get a chance to print that. I paint it yet, but we printed it, and yeah, I like the Mario RPG, like just how they look. They look so cool.
And the first time I met Kevin, he had the cartridges that I bought my son and I for the game room because I ran into that problem myself. I couldn't find them. He also has these keychains.
Yeah, little keychains. The keychains.
I had to have
really
the Castlevania one, you know.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And
it makes you feel like a kid again when you're holding a giant cartridge, you know.
But that's also what I saw with this, right? So you have this nice game room. And I don't know if a lot of you guys are the same way, but like you take the cord, you wrap it around the controller, you throw it in a box.
Yep.
And then when your friends come over, you're like digging through the box, or your kids. When I saw this at TORG's, I think it was back in June.
Yep, June 1st.
I reached out to him. I was like, dude, that is killer. And he's like, I'm going to send you one. And we put it together, and like people have come over to the game room, and they're like, this is genius. Like, why didn't anybody ever think about this?
That was a cool idea.
It started out, I had a speaker with one of those wire plate holders, and it had 2 controllers. And I was like, well, I can fit four controllers on that speaker. And then I got a pizza box. I cut the pizza box up. And this was funny. I was making the Fang adapters, and I was like, I need something to, promote the Fang adapter. So I was like, well, we'll make this tower thing, and it just became 4 levels, the CNC one. And then I was like, so I couldn't do everything I wanted to do with that one. I wanted to expand it. I wanted to have more options and whatnot. And then the other thing is I came up with a system where the arms are either wide or narrow. And so now these arms are reversible, so you can switch them around. And so basically PlayStation is wide, Xbox is narrow, and everything else fits in pretty much anything else. So the other thing is that there's a bunch of other things, the wired controllers and other things like that you can use. So the new version that's 3D printed, thanks to the Bamboo Labs.
Those are nice.
They print faster, and so you can just add another section.
Oh, so that's threaded. That's all threaded.
There's a nut and a bolt in the core.
Oh, get out.
And then, so now I've got these tabs that go on here, like the arms. And now you can drop in these specialty controller holders. This is called the Ultimate or Universal Old School, and it holds every old school. It's got spring loaded, and then it holds the cord too up here. It's spring loaded too. So you wrap the cable around, it keeps it nice and neat. I got one so you can have family game night with the Joy-Cons. And I just finished this one. This one's, I love me some Wii. I mean, I want to go play Sin and Punishment and stop making controller towers right now. But all these things just drop on, and it makes it look neat. I mean, even the wire, this is the Duke. If anybody knows Xbox, it's giant.
It's so big.
And unreasonably long cord.
Yeah.
And this is called a wired universal, and they have the same settings as you can get one that's narrow or one that's wide. And then, there's some other options. I've got some Rob toppers, some headphone crowns that you can put your headphones on.
You thought about everything for this.
So, but yeah, and they're modular, interchangeable, and you can do a lot of different things on it.
So you could release new stuff down the road that would fit onto
That's
it.
right. I describe it as a living product.
Yeah.
And, if there's something that's not right or something that I want to be better, I can come along and I can drop in some new feature or...
Could I stack and customize the different ones?
Yeah, I recommend not going more than 6 levels. If you have a drunk uncle or rambunctious cat or rowdy children, you might limit to 4. But the 4 is kind of the optimal, and you can go a little bit taller. Okay. I have made a weight for the bottom core, and I'm trying to explore some other ways to make it a little bit more stable. But, if in the corner of a game room, it should be fine.
Yeah, sure.
It looks amazing. That's awesome.
Clean.
It's a cool
Make
idea.
your game room look good.
But that was the thing with me, having it. So I have Mega Man on the floor, and then I have this up on the shelf. It adds to it with people being able to see.
Yeah.
Because he has the ability where back at his booth, if you want to see, where he can actually charge devices. He put it on the tree where you can charge them
I've seen
cell
that.
phones and
That's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
That was one thing that you were doing, because you were also experimenting. I don't know if you continue doing it, where you could charge some of your wireless controllers with that.
There's a truss style, I love those DJ truss bars that they put up at concerts. So I made a stand like that doesn't rotate. And there's 2 versions. There's a Siamese version that has 2 sets of controllers coming out, and then there's one that comes just straight. But those are ideal for wider things, if you collect keyboards, if you want to charge stuff. I'm still working out some of the charging stuff, but right now, if you're good at running wires and stuff, you can just run them up the back side of it. Make it so that you can charge, I love those magnetic cables. I don't know if anybody's messing with magnetic cables with their controllers, but it makes it so you can just tink, and they automatically connect. And that makes it a great way to have everything ready for rapid deployment. Because that's, that's what I used to work for UPS's same-day air division, and rapid deployment is a word that stuck in my head. It's like everything's got to be ready to go. Right. And, when you got time in the game, if you got kids, whatever, you want to be able to play now. Because you only got half hour, hour that you got to get in game.
5 minutes.
Right. Yep. Right.
There you go.
Right. And that's what I wanted to ask. I wanted to go with Kevin here and ask you, like, so what made you decide, besides obviously for your own store having decorations, but you pretty much cornered the market in the beginning. Like, you were the only one doing 3D printed signs.
We were the first, yeah. We were selling the cartridges. Just originally, we just started with cartridges and just trying to get them to look as close as possible to the originals. And we just thought they were cool. And they started catching on, and people was like, can I buy that? Can I buy that? So we went to one convention. Our first convention was Kalahari. We were at Colossal Con, anime convention. And we did way better than we ever imagined. So then we went to Cleveland, one of the Cleveland gaming
That's when I met you guys, yeah.
And then we did, it was unbelievable, blown away. So we just started doing that, and then I noticed, everybody started doing the cartridges, so I had to go on to other stuff. I started doing statues and signs and just tried to do just stuff to differentiate myself. I love coming to the conventions, and I love my store, but it's nice to get out of the store on the weekends every now and then and go to a convention and do something different.
But you also you stream live. You have a podcast as well.
I do. My podcast is called the Game Store Guy Podcast. It is on an app called the Video Game Outsiders. It's a podcast that's been around for about 20 years. I'm on the main podcast, but my podcast is only on their app. It's free to listen to. And I will say 99% of my customers are amazing, but my shtick basically is I complain about the crazy customers that I get in my store. So I like to share the crazy stories of the stuff that you don't see every day in a game store. I swear, if I had a camera in my store every day, I could have a reality show at my store.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I was one of those kids that was in the candy store, just hanging out. It's like, when's this guy gonna go? It's like, what you really don't want to do is have those stations where you can play, because then I would never leave. It's like
we used to have those, and I don't have them anymore because a lot of women realized that was just free babysitting for their kids. They would leave them in my store for hours.
But by kids, you mean their husbands?
Husbands or kids.
That's true.
Right. So we don't have the demo stations anymore. But
I miss them.
I used to love going to Walmart.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that. And do you guys remember the store Clover?
I don't.
See, we had a store called Clover, and they always had this kiosk, and they were up on the.
And you had to look up the whole time.
I had to look up. So my parents would go look at other stuff, and we're sitting there playing Nintendo and Super Nintendo, looking up at the.
KB had those too. They would kill your neck. You were you were.
So I had to ask you really quick. There's a guy. Did you see the guy with the big 4-foot Mario down there?
Yeah.
So when's your 4-foot Mario coming out?
It's coming soon. I actually have a legitimate one at my store. I have.
That's what theirs is. Yeah.
I have the legitimate one, and I have two of the Master Chiefs.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I have a Sonic to match Mario.
Oh wow.
Nice. But yeah, we're working on it. We're gonna make some life size ones. And,
wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was at the end of the table with the baseball hat. The 4-foot Mario.
Oh,
that was a good one. I'm not gonna lie, that was good.
It didn't take him long.
Well, he stepped right up. Home run right there. Good job. Good job. That was
He's
good.
filling in for Scott there.
That was good. And yes, it's a Mario. Yes. I'm still not getting that voice down, but I'm gonna get
I thought we just put him down there to bounce the table.
Right. I stay up here because it's easier to see the sign behind me.
Excuse me. So let's talk a little bit. For everything people are going to ask, we'll start with you over here, Derek, with the contraptions that you have here, the pricing. That's what everybody wants to know. Like, man, am I going to be like selling my kidney to get something like this because it's too cool, right?
Yeah.
You have some price charts. Do you want to just kind of give like a ball of it?
Essentially, I think the 16 controllers is the optimal size. Now you may not need that many. You may be a new gamer, and you may just want 8 or 4, whatever. You can start it there.
Yeah.
And I think those, start around 40, 45. And if you want to, get the 16, that's close to 100. There's some other options. There's a way to stagger them. That's, a couple about dollars more for each level to stagger the towers. And then there's another thing. These are the add-ons are about $10. So you can buy a core without the arms, so you can do just the add-ons. And that's one of the curses of this thing being so customizable, is it's a lot to keep track of. And it needs to be kind of like a Subway where you come in and you order, oh, I need this base tower, and then here are the toppings I want.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Etsy doesn't have any setup like that, and that's generally where I sell these days, is Etsy. It's hard to compete with Amazon, but you're talking an American-made product, handmade, and I'm trying to.
People value that. That's a good thing to know. It's not everything on eBay and Amazon is actually made here, so it's good.
Yeah.
People like that.
But I wanted to draw attention to, I don't know if you can pass it down, then they can see it too. You also had a stand, and I saw it back at your booth, for amiibos. That's another huge thing that people,
Yes.
they don't know what to do with them. Like,
It's got the little platforms on all the way around. It's really nice.
Yeah, so you can swap out these arms. I don't know if I think I brought some. Let me check.
So going into my basement, I have a ledge that runs around. That's where mine and my kids' amiibos sit. We stack them up. And I don't know, my wife, every time she walks up and down the stairs, sometimes she knocks one at least over. Bowser seems to go down all the time. I don't know if she has a personal vendetta against him. I don't. She's over there laughing at me. But seriously, you do have them with you.
So this is the first stage. This is the first stage, and this is the second stage. So the shorter ones you'd want to put in the back, and the bigger ones go in the front. And I did that in the wrong order. You got to put the lower one down first. But essentially, it gives you a place for 5 on each side. And so then you can put it all the way around if you want. You can have.
Okay. Yeah.
How many? What's
cool.
5 plus 4 or 5 times 4?
20.
Yeah, there we go.
Be like an amiibo Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like I had a little place for mine, but it's just I thought it would be so cool to be able to have them with your controllers and stuff, and they're ready to go.
Especially for the game room, because it takes up a lot of room. You start getting into stuff like that, it takes up a lot of room.
Plus, it looks
Well,
nice.
I've got bins of controllers. It's just a bin full of controllers.
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
pull out bins.
And there's some cases where you don't want your prized Pokemon game controller on a shelf
Or collector's edition.
Yeah. So there is reasons for that, but it's like I want to play that Castlevania on the NES that I haven't played.
Yep.
And I want to find that NES controller that I can grab.
Right. Which is quick. Quick and easy. Spin it around, and there it is.
So, Kevin, what about you as far as, what are we talking pricing? So we have this, like a statue of Mario like that. What are we looking retail at for something like that? Somebody puts their order in.
The statue like Mario, if I'm not painting them, the time and effort into painting them takes a long time. But
I bet.
if I did it on a bamboo, it'd be a little bit easier. But a lot more wasteful on on filament. But something like this is probably in the like $80 range. The bigger statues, like I just sold my Samus for $500. That took a long time. We did a lot of sanding, a lot of painting, automobile paint on that. Very nice. Something like this, like a sign. This is about $25. Castlevania, really cool sign that I put a lot of time into designing it myself. And then the cartridges are about $25. So,
if I'm not mistaken, you had a Harley Quinn too, as well.
Yeah, we have a
right?
Harley Quinn. That one's at $350 is what we're asking.
And
for
that brickwork on there looks so nice.
Yeah, that was a lot of airbrushing, and I really like the sign on it. It looks like real metal, but it's not.
It was awesome.
Yeah, we went all out on painting that.
And then you have the Pokemon. Like, everybody loves Pokemon.
Yeah.
So to have, like, and then he had like a bomb from Mario.
Yeah.
One of those. And so I could see somebody like that has a storefront that like wants to do like a Mario setup. They could pick up some of that stuff,
Right.
and do like a window display of it.
That
Right?
a lot of those are in my store window, and I just pull them out for
Yeah.
the convention, and then if I sell them, great. If not, they go back in my store. If I sell them, I'll print another one. I'll make another one for the store.
Now, how many do you get that people just want the Mario, but they want to paint it themselves?
That happens occasionally. I would prefer that. I don't want to take the time to paint them.
Right.
But
Now, obviously, that'd be a little cheaper too if they did that. Right?
it's getting easier. Like he said, he has the bamboo. So if you have the AMS system, it's the new one. It's getting a lot easier. You can just paint them digitally, and the printer will print them in the colors.
Okay.
The colors.
That'll
you
paint
need.
it right up.
That's going to be more of the future.
That's awesome.
But I like to print really big stuff. So this one could be done on a bamboo, but like the bigger you get, the bamboos aren't quite there with the size yet.
Okay.
Once they get to the size, like bigger sizes, I'll be printing bigger things with those.
All right.
So
Have you thought about expanding past like controllers and doing like the Lazy Susan style in the kitchen? Like, you know, you put your spices on it instead of amiibos and things like that.
Well, I mean, I'm I love my game stuff. You know, I mean, it's like,
Good answer.
and you want to work where you're passionate. You know,
Yeah.
and my day job is product development, and I've done a lot of models. And like I'm looking at Mario over there, and I'm like, oh my God, the masking. You know, we used to do giant Cascade bottles for P&G for commercials and stuff, and dude, that stuff is, there's a reason why they're pricey, is because somebody is
Takes a
spending
lot
a
of
lot of time. And
Yeah,
and those build lines, up around the top of Mario's hat, he's in there with sandpaper going, for hours.
yeah, it's a lot of time. That's what you're paying for when you're buying like a statue or something like that. It's not really the actual cost of the filament.
And paints, and the bamboo's great, but switching those colors.
Yeah.
Every layer that you have multiple colors, it's going to do a purge
Yeah.
and a reload. So, multiple heads are better for that.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it is... I use the bamboo for my logos. I was paying $1 a logo, $1.50 for a logo, and now I can print my logos into the part. And that's the only time I use the color changing. And so it's doing like 3 or 4 layers for the logo.
That's cool.
And I don't have to get extorted by the label company anymore.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yes, 3D printing has actually it's saved a lot of money when you
And I pass the savings on to you, you know.
Yeah. So I got to ask, because we are at a gaming convention here, and obviously selling products. Derek, what got you into gaming? Like, where did you start at? Were you a big Atari guy, or were you Nintendo? Where did you start?
Commodore 64.
There it is.
There's a game called Big Mac. Anybody know Big Mac?
He does. He's down there shaking his head.
That was a rage quitter.
Yes.
That was a rage quitter. The only cartridge, pain in the butt to play a game on that, but the only cartridge I had was Congo Bongo, which was a Sega knockoff.
That's a good one.
And but yeah, I mean that's and then into the and my cousin used to love my dad's Apple IIe, and I'd be like, well, he won't play with me anymore when we come over because he wants to play with your computer. So I kind of had an anti-video game thing for a while. But I mean, Gyros on the Commodore 64, and that dot matrix printer that could print color pictures. Oh, that was terrible, dude. I'd turn in my homework on thermal paper, like I did my spelling words, Yep. Tractor thermal paper.
What about you, Kevin? What got you into buying a video game store? Like, you must have had some tremendous passion for video games.
I did, and I'm old, so I'm gonna.
And now he's regretting it.
I'm gonna date myself here. So my first one was my grandparents got a Pong.
Really?
And I was hooked on Pong, and then it graduated to Atari, and then I got hooked on Atari, and then NES, and pretty much played them all.
Downhill from there.
I was addicted. I live 5 minutes from Cedar Point, so I was always in the arcade. I was just an arcade little rat over at Cedar Point.
Nice.
And I just hooked ever since. And then I went to college for business, and I wanted to start my own game store, and I did. So worked at GameStop for years, and then just started my own. Took the leap, and
Wow.
It's been 20 years now that I've owned the store.
Not to sidetrack the conversation, but I got to give a shout out my man here, Brooklyn Menace. He just showed up here, another YouTube creator here. just passing, just in case he's like passing through. I wanted to make sure I said hi. But that's cool. I can hear both of you. Like you got into this with you because of your passion. You got into that because of your passion. Johnny's sitting here because of his passion. Actually, he's here because I made him sit here.
Yeah, a little of both. I'm passionate about doing what Steven tells me to do.
See, at least you know.
Yeah.
I
know my place.
That's a wife comment.
Shh, she didn't hear that one. What? Oh, now she turned her head.
Steven, I can't believe you said that about your wife.
Hey, you just be quiet down there.
Don't get short with me.
So I hate to do this even with like booth number. Is there booth numbers here?
Yeah,
Do they have booth numbers?
but I don't know where you'd find it.
Yeah, they are, but they don't mean anything.
gonna
Like
say, yeah.
my booth is H0 and H1.
I just know. I know Kevin's like down that way. Like if you look for the high, it looks like there's an art.
Mhm.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
it's like an
there's-
art stand.
There's
He's,
a
like,
guy
next
selling
to it.
art next to me. Yeah, so he's got a giant.
And then
stand.
Fang is back behind, like that first pillar there. That like, it's kind of catty corner behind.
There's a
that.
floating controller balloon above our booth. So
Okay.
you can find us easily by looking at that, looking for that floating controller balloon. The other thing I want to say about the old school gaming stuff. So
Yeah.
I was in this mindset, where I'm going to go virtual and go emulation the whole way. And I built a game room in my wife's dining room. Don't tell her that.
Well, you're going
she
for
has.
punishment,
She doesn't
man.
have a dining room anymore. It's an art. Okay.
Wow.
So it's got 6 stations and one driving rig. And I went crazy. We're having a retro arcade party, and the first one I had a week before, my friend says, "Have you ever played MAME?" And I said, "No, what's that?" And he said, so all of a sudden I had this party, and I was, hooking controllers up to old computers and stuff, and then I repeated the party, went out on eBay, got a bunch of controllers, put light up control panels.
in your wife's dining room.
Well, she wasn't my wife yet.
Oh,
but
okay.
it was a good move,
Yep,
It's kind of like an unofficial prenuptial agreement.
Yeah. There you go.
And
Get it all done quick.
so, one station's got a restricted 4-way. The other station's, like I said, it's got a 2, so you can do Smash TV and Robotron. And then one flagship that's got like light up joysticks. And
Yeah.
so my kid had her 9th birthday last weekend, and we fired that thing up, and it's just, sure, it's not Chuck E. Cheese with those, easy games to play, but, it's like they get the little taste of they love the driving thing. And the driving rig is, it's an old theater seat and oh, wait a second.
Yeah, just wait a second. Guys watching the stream, you can hear us. We're just pausing because loudspeakers right now.
Yeah. God is talking.
And so the other thing was I went to Goodwill and bought a steering wheel, and it was $15, and we've used it since. I mean, it doesn't
very
have
cool.
force feedback, and I got to a place where it's like, okay, well, you can't play this game without the real controller or an analog. And it brought me back to the controllers. It's like, well, and the controllers are a window to this other world. That's how we function in this other world. And each one of these controllers, I love the industrial design that goes into them. And, it's like if you're going to play, Zelda on the 64, you want to play with the 64 or at least the GameCube. And it's the way it's meant to be.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So you and I had a discussion a little bit off camera before. We were talking about one of the panels that I did at Pittsburgh, digital versus physical. And I want to ask you, and since you guys go way back as well, since you have a game store, like the digital versus physical, where do you weigh in on that? Just because of having a game store, physical goes away, your business goes away.
It may, but I have about 50, 60 years worth of physical games to sell. I sell a lot of retro. There's other stuff to sell as well, but I don't want everything to go digital. I'm not anti-digital though. I just thought by now we would be buying and selling digital. I think our laws need to catch up so that we can So you own the digital item you get, whether it's a game or whether it's a piece of software.
Yeah.
I don't like that everything's a lease. Everything, you just don't own anything
You're
nowadays.
renting. You're
Yeah.
renting it. Yeah.
No matter what it is, games or software in general. I think you should be able to transfer that when if you die, you should be able to transfer it. But really, a lot of people don't realize if you read the EULA, your license expires when you do. So
Wow.
you
I
don't
didn't know
own-
that.
You don't own any of the digital games you buy.
The human centipede cannot read.
Well, actually, in California, they just passed a law where they're no longer allowed to say that they have to be upfront that you're not really buying anything digital. So we'll see how that goes into effect here soon.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sony already started that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Man.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think that it's, the big thing is, it's like I bought all these games on the Wii, and I can't play them on the Switch, and that's, or I can't play them on the 3DS. All that hardware is perfectly capable of playing those games, so it's offensive to me. I mean, it's like it makes me want to be an emulator, and I don't necessarily need to be, but that's, they drive us to it.
So you're anti-digital.
I love some new things, but I mean it's hardcore. The world that we're in.
Retro
It's like I want to. There's something about picking up a cartridge, sliding it in, and turning it on without signing up.
Right.
Checking this box, checking that. Oh, let me do some updates. It's bam, instant gaming, and I love that, and I don't think that's going to go away. I think people are going to crave it, and there's a lot of hard copy stuff that they can't compete with with the new stuff.
And I think that's why Switch is so popular nowadays, too, because you just pop in a cartridge and it works for the most part. I mean, there are a lot of games that need updates, but it's by far the most offline friendly of all the systems. You don't need an internet connection. You just buy a cartridge and pop it in and it go.
And now you could argue that the emulation is part of the digital landscape. I mean, that's digital being used in a constructive and more interesting way, because we're just transferring ones and zeros around. I mean, that's all emulation is. So it can be a harmonious thing. It's just we're not there yet.
Yeah, and it's good for preservation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you pro Ron? Are you pro digital or are you pro physical?
So I like them both.
Okay.
Because digital is more convenient. But what I can't stand is that when you buy physical copies, they put the digital code in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another good point.
I avoid those in my store. I try not to.
A lot
carry
of the
those.
collector's editions now, like I was so irritated with
Yes.
the Horizon,
Oh.
Horizon game. You got the steel book, but there's like a little code taped in there. It's like, really?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I just spent $300 for this collector's edition, and you're gonna give me a sticker.
Did they not fix that? I thought they fixed it.
They might have fixed it.
I
But the
think
one I got the one on the clearance from GameStop where it's $50.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like anymore, when you're spending $300 for a collector's edition,
Right.
you want, because you're a collector, you want physical.
Yeah. The AAA space is the worst when it comes to that. Like, and even when you do get the disc, half of the game isn't on it sometimes. And,
Yeah.
and some of them are released so broken that you need updates and stuff to get it to run. So, we know all that. But the AAA space is definitely in trouble with that. They need to figure it out.
I was going to say Xbox games are the worst at that. They're mostly just digital keys at this point.
But indie games, a lot of these games that have been out for a few years, been on Steam, and they finally get a PlayStation version or whatever. A lot of those are complete on the disc.
Yes.
Right.
So it's different. It's different. It's inconsistent.
PlayStation's definitely a lot more offline friendly, where their discs are
they're
ready to go.
Yeah, but I think you're right when you say the Switch is probably the best out of the three.
I think that's why it's so popular. I think that leads to why popular. It's
sure.
it by far in
And
my
the games
store,
are smaller games, so they're just kind of easier to maintain.
I sell more Switch than just about anything.
I am sure, yeah.
So, well, Brian, I'm sure you have a short list.
It's going to be short. Yes.
Of digital.
It's
physical?
always short.
Okay.
So, physical to me
physical.
is where it's at because I'm a collector and I collect multiple different consoles and systems and games, things like that. I'm not big on. So, digital to me is like the McDonald's of gaming. Like I can get a quick sandwich and I can move on.
Yeah.
Like if you want a quick game, you want to download it real fast, that's where digital is. But physical to me is where it's at because
It's like a steak dinner.
Yes. Yeah. To me, that's the sit-down restaurant that you want to go to and you want to get something good to eat.
Yeah.
That's
a good analogy. Yeah, I like that.
Well, let me ask you guys something. So, if physical ends up going away, do we just have a bunch of worthless plastic? Because even some of these games that are worth money
Right.
Now, do they become obsolete?
I don't think so.
I think they still go up.
You think they're going to go up in value?
I think they go up more because
Yeah.
it's now
Yeah,
it's rare.
they're done. They're done being made. So
Yeah.
they go up in value tremendously.
So is there going to be a mad rush to keep these machines running?
Yeah,
I think
the
we're
main-
already seeing it. I mean, we're already seeing it.
People
are
modding and
like Analog that releases these high-end
Yep.
systems.
Yep.
Like that is really the future. The companies that make these, Hyperkin even,
Yeah.
they're kind of
Yeah.
on the lower end of it.
right.
But
Yeah.
these are the companies that are going to keep it going when all of our, SNESs and
Yeah.
PlayStation 1s are, fully disintegrated,
Give 'em
which
some-
will happen eventually.
Right.
Give them some modern features, like Analog's got the N64 coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I love seeing all that, and I like that we have choices. We have things in the low end and kind of mid-tier stuff, and we have high-end stuff with Analog. And I think there's another company coming out that's going to start doing FPGA consoles a lot like Analog, sort of compete with them.
I think we're just going to call him Dr. Doom. He's such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I think
But it just turns to dust.
Well, I mean, it does, but the fact is, we have solutions that are already happening. We're seeing it happen,
True.
and it's just gonna change, and that's okay.
Agreed.
I also think too, like if it was easier, like if Nintendo offered their whole library on the Switch, I don't think people would emulate. I think people would actually really buy it. But
Yeah.
Nintendo and a lot of these companies, they lock that stuff away behind, and
The
they,
hardcores do that. They would
Yeah.
buy it. How many times have you bought Zelda? How many times have you bought Mario?
I would
If the
buy it.
price is right,
if it
I
was
mean,
there, yeah.
I've owned Metal Gear Solid 1
Yes.
forever, but then when it was on the PS3 digitally, I bought it there,
And I bought
And-
it again on the Switch.
and I'll probably get that collection they put out that has Metal Gear Solid 1 on it that Konami put out within the
Yes.
last year or so. I'll probably buy that eventually.
That's the one I just got on the
So,
Switch.
I mean, yeah, if the price is right, sure.
you may have a video game addiction if you buy both.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Well,
I'm a sucker. One of the new trends is where they release a game digitally first, and I'll pay for it, and then it'll
And
come
then
out
you'll buy
physically
physical.
down the road,
Like
and
Alan
I'll
Wake
buy it and
2.
I'll put it on my shelf.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
I have like a shelf full of
Yeah.
just physical copies that I haven't even opened because, like you said, when they brought the digital one out. Well, I think Princess Peach, they did that, didn't they?
Yeah.
The new Peach game.
The Peach Showdown or whatever. it
Yeah,
was.
I bought the digital and then I just threw the other one up on the shelf. I'm like, well,
I did that with like Turtles, the
There's
latest
that.
Turtles.
Yeah, well, that's where the
Oh, right.
profit margins are with digital, because their money goes into the plastic and transportation and all that.
and now they got you paying
And-
$160 instead of $80 for a game or $70.
That's
or
one
whatever.
thing I can't stand. You're paying for the same price of a game for the digital.
Yeah,
Right.
You
Like,
should
I-
get it for like 45, not 75.
Yeah,
like
I
they
agree.
do.
I don't mind them having better margins with digital games necessarily, but I shouldn't be paying the exact same price. It should be something a little bit less, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yes.
You're saving the earth.
Sure.
I agree. I think that has more to do with like the big box stores like Walmart and stuff arguing with them.
They got to
that-
get their cut.
Yeah, that
Right.
we don't.
$1
want you
billion
selling-
company trying to get that cut.
100%. They got to get their cut, and they're going to get it one way or the other, whether you're going to do it or not. But I would agree with you. I think I think that it's just a monopoly. It's just like these. Okay, so you make these comic books.
Yes.
You make the content. They're $7.99 US, right?
Yes.
Do you charge anything less if it's a digital version?
Yes.
There you
So-
go.
So it's
But you do, but not the other. Not
And,
the other.
and you
people.
get more profit margin, and the consumer pays less. Everybody wins.
yes.
That's the way to
So-
do it.
But not everybody thinks like you.
So it's $3.99.
$3.99
so it's
for
half
digital.
off. Yes.
Right.
There you go.
And that's
half
and,
off.
No,
and,
it's a
and
physical
that's the way the
together.
game should be, and
Yeah.
that's bottom line.
Well,
Right.
but you know what? The movie industry does the same thing. So if you went and bought the latest movie that's out there, I wouldn't even know. But they want $20 for a DVD, say $25 for a Blu-ray. I don't even know what they cost anymore. But if you get it digitally, it's still $25.
Well, since we're on that same subject, if you want to watch the movie, like say why it's in theaters, and you want to get it like around the time it releases, you go on like certain sites or apps, and they have it for $24.99.
Yeah, like a hotel.
But yeah, exactly. But if you wait another month or two, it's back down to rent for $4.99.
Or you could
Right.
go find on the internet.
It's a convenience thing.
$3.99.
It's bottom line. It's a convenience thing.
I think
Right.
that's where we're at, even with video games. I think it's gotten to the point where
How bad do you want it? How fast do you want it?
Exactly. It's more of a convenience factor versus then. I think
Yep.
that's what the conclusion I've come to is it's not digital versus physical. It's convenience. It's I want it now.
Right.
I don't care how I got to get it now. I'll get the digital, and then I'll get the physical.
Yes.
And to be honest, I mean, I own a game store, and those midnight releases were amazing. It was
Yeah,
so
I
much
love those.
fun back
Miss
in the
them
day.
so
Oh,
much.
yeah.
But we live in Ohio here, and it's cold in the winter, and most of the games come out in the winter. And do you wanna go out in the cold, or
Yes.
do you want to, and wait at midnight, or do you want to just download it in the comfort of your nice warm
Right.
house?
I mean, we're getting to a point where we don't really have the choice. I don't know the last time they did a midnight release. Do they still even?
They,
do it?
Ours
they,
do,
they,
yeah.
they just
Just
did
did
one
for Call of
on
Duty.
Black York. Yeah.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
Call
glad
of
it's
Duty.
still happening.
My
I remember
favorite
I did-
one
He doesn't
was-
get out much.
Yeah.
I
My
don't know.
favorite midnight release was Halo 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That was a good
I did
one.
God of War 3.
Yeah.
that was my
Standing
big
in
one.
line for over an hour
Yeah.
and some to get
But
through.
they used to do that for systems too.
Yes.
If you recall.
Oh yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
The last time I had people waiting for a system was Switch. People were lined up waiting.
Oh yeah, they probably will for the Switch 2 or whatever comes out
Probably.
next. That'll probably happen
Yeah, we'll
if
see.
you're able
We'll
to get them.
We'll see what happens with that.
Yep.
We'll see where they'll take it.
It'll be next year.
Right.
Hopefully, it plays the Switch games.
It would be a huge mistake if it didn't.
It really would.
on there.
So yeah,
Yeah, well, it's Nintendo though.
Yeah.
They've already got you buy Mario 5 times. They're gonna get you to get it a 6th
I
time.
mean,
I
they,
know.
It's a new Mario, and it added Luigi. Of course, you're gonna get it.
They upped the graphics. They've upped the anyways.
yeah,
Mario
Luigi's
Kart.
hat.
I
now has
digress.
fibers.
Mario can do a backflip now. You're getting it.
Really quick before we wrap it up here, let's go down the line, make it short.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
I'm Brian with Retro Trade, and if you guys want to subscribe, go ahead and hit the link behind us. All right, move on.
My name's Kevin. Kevin Canino. I own CNC Games in Fremont, Ohio, and I'm here at the show vending 3D printed collectibles.
Awesome. 3D printed. Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. 3D printing right there.
Very nice. I'm Johnny Graphics. I'm on YouTube and TikTok. Move on.
Oh, there we go. Go ahead.
I'm Ron with Retro Trade, and check all the podcasts out, Basement Talk.
Oh yeah, Basement Talk. And
I'm Derek with
yeah, pull that up because I
Uh,
was kind of hiding there.
Fang Multimedia Accessories, and I'm on Etsy. That's Fang Multimedia Accessories, and I have a YouTube channel that I don't do much on called Making Fang, and I hope to do more on there in the near future.
Very nice.
It's just kind of the process of going through stuff and creating and sharing that
Making
with people.
videos on how you make those and produce those would be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
And awesome work. I mean,
Hey, I have a
bottom line,
question.
that's
Did
awesome.
you ever think about license?
What
Like licensing your product to other companies?
It's a matter of who, and it's a challenging world out there,
Right.
product development and getting things launched. It's like I'd like to, grow things, and the more people can support me, the faster I can get more
Right.
produced and lower prices, and make more stuff. That's what I want to. It's like I want to make more good stuff. And because that's the thing, it's like in the design world today, there's a lot of stuff that's not made right.
Useless. Just
Yeah.
useless stuff.
It's like it looks pretty, but it doesn't function. It's a can opener.
Right.
This is awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate
And,
that.
and what's good about that is it functions in more than one way. That's and you can customize it.
Yeah, that's
Right.
the thing. Your collection is different than my collection, and I wanted to make it so that, like when you buy an Android, you have to get the universal case. When you buy an Apple, there's 100 cases designed perfectly for that.
Right.
This is both. This is the best of universal and the best of customization, and that's
There you go.
it adds complexity,
Right.
but it makes it so you can make what you want.
Yes.
Best of
Easy
both
to
worlds.
put together too. Very, very, very simple. If you're at the show and you want to check it out, he's got all his controller trees. We'll call them controller trees, right?
I call them controller towers.
Controller towers.
Yeah.
Okay. He has them available over there. You can check them out, and then also on Etsy. And I think it adds to the aesthetics of the game room. I really like it.
It's a nice way to be organized and not just have a box of controllers.
Right.
That
yes.
is true.
Agreed.
I thought it would be cool to have these guys on because they had very unique products, and then like being up in Cleveland, picking up that Mega Man. You guys all saw the Mega Man. Kevin made the Mega Man, and then the Black Mario. Having the ability to get some of these for your game room is just awesome. These unique pieces, you can go to any game show and get a game.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These unique pieces, you're only going to find them unless they're selling online like you're doing, and you sort of do. You're only going to get them at a convention.
Unless you know about them. That's
Or-
the problem.
or
Like,
no,
I
that's-
never knew about this until I was here. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That is amazing.
And these give you stuff to do, like stuff like this,
Yeah.
decorations and different ways to organize your stuff. If you're at a place where like I'm kind of at, and a lot of other people are at, where they have 95% of the games that they want.
And you need room.
But they're looking for ways to maybe optimize their space or
Yep.
decorate a little bit differently or something. There's all this kind of stuff out there. There's still stuff to buy. So even if you've got the games you want, there's still crap to buy. Absolutely.
Agreed.
I like the way you put that. So again, Dr. Doomer, there's still crap to buy.
There's always stuff to buy if you want
Always
it.
stuff to
Agreed.
Yeah, they need a show called Pimp My Game Room, you know?
Oh,
Right.
that's
I
great.
definitely
Well,
want
I'm
that.
telling you, you're on it for sure.
I'd love that.
Buddy.
There we go. Well, guys, we really appreciate it. We're going to be back later on around 3:30 for the next panel discussion. We're going to have a lot of fun. If you haven't, go to ttbgaming.com. You can watch this live. We're live here. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Kick, you name it. We're live on the website. Follow Facebook, whatever. We're here. We're having a good time here at TORG 2024. We're going to be doing this all weekend long. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining.
Thanks
Thanks for having us.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
All right.
Keep it
Out.
buzzing.